Hello and welcome to Live International Streaming. It is a joy to come to you today and also to extend God's best grace and blessing upon your life. We are all talking about the present situation, and I pray that the message today would help you to be able to navigate your life through this new normal. Life as we all know it in the 21st century changed drastically on the 30th of January 2020 when World Health Organization declared a global health emergency. And honestly, it all began December 2019 in a food market in Hunan in China. A 61-year-old man went to the food market and he came home with a virus which spread all over the world. And as a result of it, the world has not recovered, and we are finding ways and means to live with this virus and defeat this virus. Don't forget that every year we all make resolutions, and I believe 1st of January, all over the world, we all came up with resolutions declaring that 2020 will be different. Because 2020, in ophthalmological terms, it means clear vision. We're all going to see things clearly. We made up positive resolutions concerning our new year. But trust me, no one saw this coming. Just out of nowhere, this crisis hit, and it changed everything that you and I know. And as a result, we have to find ways and means to navigate our lives through this new normal. This is a term that has come to stay, the new normal. It means what we know today is not what we knew. And the plans we made based on what we knew had to change or shift. So we come up with a new strategy for living. So where we are today, we can say that globally, we're all in limbo. Everything is in limbo due to COVID-19. Our existence today is all against the backdrop of COVID-19. What we knew to be normal has all changed. It's no longer normal. So we are inventing new normals, creating new normals, establishing new normals, and hoping that this new normal would help us to move forward. All of this as a cause of COVID-19. We are changed forever. When I was listening to the news the other day, I heard that joblessness or unemployment in America is the highest it's ever been since the Great Depression. It is happening all over the world. Companies are shutting down. Schools are changing and shutting down. Industries no longer exist. So what we are going to be experiencing as a result of this change is going to demand that we also adapt to this new change and also make sure that we're not left behind. Neither are we caught by surprise. I may also say that to many around the world, this is very negative. But to few people, they see this as opportunity to do and also experience things that are new. So what seemed to be bad seemed to be opportunity for those who see good in the bad. And I hope you and I can also see clear, or you and I will at least start thinking differently. This is a new normal. What do? Do we sit back? Do we throw in the towel? Or do we find ways and means to navigate our life through this new normal so that the world doesn't leave us behind, and also making sure that we are actually in charge of our lives as far as our human lives are concerned, whilst we trust in God to take care of us going forward. This is a change. And change is very interesting. Change does not ask permission. Change does not respect opinions. And change does not actually care what is best or what is worse. Whenever change calls upon you, you have to respond. Change will force you to change. So may I encourage all of us that let's adopt to this new change. Let's make the best out of it. Let's make sure that at least we learn how to navigate our lives through this new normal. There is a man in the Bible whose life has impacted many of us. And I look to him as a great mentor. He's a great mentor because his words still lives. And there's something unique about him. To those who tell his life story, they emphasize some of the things that he did that was wrong. But to those who took wisdom or those who took strength out of his words, recognize him not just as a man who's adapt to his days, but a man whose experience transcends our life experience. His name is Solomon. Solomon has knowledge. Solomon has wisdom. And Solomon also had understanding. And I think it is good for us to know that knowledge, which is information, is important. We have to be informed. With this COVID-19, there are so many of us who decide to take information that is given to us by CDC quite seriously, or the scientists or the experts. It is their instructions or information which we consider to be good that can help us to at least beat or cheat death. The knowledge is important. And Solomon had knowledge. And I think in life, it is just good for us to have knowledge. Knowledge is information, and knowledge is good. Not only do we need knowledge, Solomon had wisdom. We also need wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is know-how. Wisdom is know-how. So we start with knowledge. Knowledge is good. Wisdom is know-how, which is better. When you have wisdom, you can actually survive any storm. When you have wisdom, you can actually live through hard times as well as good times. When you have wisdom, which is know-how, you'll be able to live above good. And all of us need wisdom. The Bible tells us that wisdom is principal thing. We should get it. We all should get it. Get wisdom. It's important. Wisdom can help you preserve your life. Wisdom can help you to be sustained or to sustain your life in the toughest times. You need knowledge, which is good. You need wisdom, which is better, and also which is know-how. And importantly, we need understanding. Solomon had understanding. And what is understanding? Understanding is application, the ability to apply wisdom. Ability to apply wisdom. And if you have understanding, it means you got something that is the best. So good, better, best. So let me put it this way. Knowledge is good. Know-how is better. And application is the best. That means knowledge is good. Wisdom is better. And understanding is the best. If we understand what is happening around us, we're going to have the best life yet. But if you don't have understanding, that is when the trouble comes in. So how do we navigate our lives in the midst of all of this? It is important. My greatest advice to everyone is that, you see, when you find people who are knowledgeable, you have to look to apply what you get out of them as knowledge or information. You have to apply that to your life, which is the know-how. Know how to apply information. If you don't know how to apply information, you'll not be able to actually apply the best in life. You and I need to get knowledge. We also have to get wisdom. And also, importantly, it's good for us to get understanding. There are many people that I talk to, good friends, experienced people. And I do ask, so how are you living life? Or how are you navigating life? Or how are you navigating your life in the midst of all this pandemic? And those who tend to be positive, there are those who tend to be negative, and there are those who at least say, I know things are rough for the moment, but things will get better. And they ask me, so how do you do? I said, I'm doing the best out of this present situation. But the goal here is to navigate one's life. Most of us have enough time on our hands. This lockdown provided us opportunity and also time to think, reflect, and also engage or disengage. There's so many things that we did before that now we're finding ways and means to do it. It's the same way, navigating your life through this new normal. Let's listen to the wise man Solomon, what he said. He said something in Ecclesiastes chapter 1. And I want to read from verse 3. So look at verse 3. Ecclesiastes 1, 3 through 8. He says, what profit has a man from all his labor, in which he toils under the sun? That's a question mark. What profit has a man from all his labor, in which he toils under the sun? Verse 4. One generation passes away, and another generation comes. One generation passes away, and another generation comes. But the earth abides forever. Again, but the earth abides forever. Verse 5, he says, the sun also rises, and the sun goes down, and hastens to the place where it arose. Verse 6, the wind goes towards the south and turns around to the north. The wind wheels around continually and comes again on its circuit. Verse 7, all the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place from which the rivers come, there they return again. Verse 8, all things are full of labor. Man cannot express it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. Verse 9, that's important. That which has been is what will be. That which has been is that which has been is what will be. Let me repeat it again. He says, verse 9, that which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. I want to repeat it again. That which is done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Again, and there is nothing new under the sun. Verse 10 says, is there anything of which it may be said, see, this is new? It has already been in ancient times before us. I'll pause for a moment and give some explanation and go deeper. You see, again, what we're experiencing, we call what? The new normal. But according to Solomon, there's nothing new. What has been, he saw it then, and he knew what was to come. Because a man who lives with such knowledge, a man who lives with such wisdom, and a man who has such understanding is able to navigate or is able to go through life knowing how things are supposed to be. He said there's nothing new. There's nothing new. And he talked about all the labors, all the things we do. We're toiling, working hard, and all of that. There's nothing new. There's nothing new. There's nothing new. So who is it I would say that this is new? It is new for us, but it's not new for God, and it's not new for those who have lived through it. Solomon was saying this thousands of years before you and I came around. And he says, and it's very interesting, verse 11, therefore there is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who will come after us. Truly, until this pandemic, very few people heard about the Depression. Most of us don't even remember 20-year history, a 30-year history. How much more 100 years? We are experiencing something that we've never experienced before, but that doesn't mean that it's new. We have a virus, pandemic, we have a scare, people are dying, but remember, there's nothing new. What we are experiencing has been before in different forms, with different names, but we still have to find a way to navigate through this new normal that we are experiencing. Yet this new normal is not new for those past, it is new for us. But there's nothing new under the sun. Listen to what it says. It goes on to say this. It says, let me read again, verse 11. There is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who will come after. This is what? Grief of wisdom. Verse 12. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem, and I set my heart to seek and to search out by wisdom. You see, he said, I set my heart to seek and search out for wisdom. That means the information that he knew, which was good, is not supposed to remain there. He was going one step further, which is better. He said, I set my heart to seek and search out for wisdom. Wisdom is not something you buy in a store. Wisdom can only come from God. And if you need wisdom, you can ask God, or those who have wisdom, if you choose to walk with them, their wisdom will rub off on you. That is why the Bible says, if you walk with the wise, you become wiser. You need wisdom. I need wisdom. We all need wisdom. And if we have wisdom, which is better than the information out there, we will do better. Let me explain something to you. Have you heard about conspiracy theories? It's all over. Everybody's coming out with new stories. This is that, and panic attacks, depressions, sadness, fear. It's everywhere. People are going through these things because there's so much information out there. But we need wisdom. Information, there's nothing bad, but we need wisdom. And after we get wisdom, we need understanding. How do we apply this know-how? How do we apply? How do I apply? How can I get understanding so I'll be able to live my life in the midst of this pandemic? How do I apply these things I have learned, these things I've experienced, these things I've heard, these things I have read, these things that is all around us? How do I navigate my life through this new normal? And here the king says, verse 13, I set my heart to seek and search out wisdom. I set my heart to seek and search out by wisdom. That is a great saying. It doesn't end there. Let's go further. He said, concerning all that is done under heaven, this burdensome task God has given to the sons of men, by which they may be exercised. Verse 14, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed all is vanity and grasping for the wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be numbered. I commune with my heart, saying, look, I have attained greatness, and I have gained more wisdom than all who were before me in Jerusalem. My heart has undergone great wisdom and knowledge. You see, again, I have the know-how and I have the information. How did he get it? God gave it to him. You need knowledge of God, and you need the wisdom of God and understanding so that you'll be able to navigate your life through this present circumstance. Solomon had it. And he said, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. So if you and I are thinking that what is happening is so strange, I don't think it's ever happened. There's nothing new under the sun. It has existed. It has been. Verse 17 says, and I set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and fully. I perceive that this also is grasping for the wind. And verse 18, verse 18, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. That's powerful. Let me read it again. He says, for in much wisdom is much grief. And also, when knowledge increases, so is your sorrow. So he has knowledge, he has wisdom. But the important thing here is, or the greatest of it is understanding. Knowledge is information. You may have information. Wisdom is a know-how. But understanding, which is a principal thing, also means application. We have to have means to apply what we know, what we've learned, so that we'll be able to navigate our life through this new normal. School is changed. Grocery shopping is changed. Restaurant is changed. Businesses is changed. Family structure is changed. Just like the iPhone changed our lives, just like Uber changed our lives, just like airplanes change our lives, just like spaceships change our lives, so is COVID-19. Our lives is changed. We need knowledge, good. We need wisdom, better. We need understanding, which is the best. How do we apply all of this to our lives, and how do we navigate through this new normal? And that is the point. So Solomon, the wise man, said, there's nothing new under the sun. If Solomon says there's nothing new under the sun, definitely he knew something. He understood something. And he was able to conclude that all the toil of man, all the things we chase, they are meaningless. But the important thing is, how do we live our lives? How do we live our lives? How do we conduct our lives? How do we go through life? How do we navigate through all of these things? And that is what is important. So let me put it this way. How are we going to navigate our lives in the midst of COVID-19? Do you have any plan? And you should. Do you have any strategy? You should. It is important for us to have strategies and plans and also roll out ability to work it out. Because if we don't, we are not going to go too far. And how do we get these things? We need knowledge. Let's get knowledge, and let's get a proper one through the right source. Get the right knowledge. We need knowledge. Number 2, we need wisdom. And number 3, we need understanding. If you have these 3 elements playing in your life, you will live your life as if you were born forever. You will live your life and you'll be able to apply. You'll be able to understand. You'll be able to navigate. You'll be able to operate. And the things that you do will bring much meaning. We're not supposed to fret. The word says, be anxious for nothing. But if you don't have knowledge and you don't have wisdom and understanding, you'll be so anxious. You'll be anxious. What you don't know many times can be a scare. But if you know, you do things a little different. Let me tell you a personal story. This past Saturday, I had an experience which was quite interesting. I was downstairs in our basement trying to read and write. I'm writing new books, so I'm just there preparing myself. And whilst I was there, I heard my wife call me. Lady Martha called me with such a voice. Honey, honey. I've never heard her in a long time with such voice. So I rushed up. When I rushed up, I realized that the first floor, there was a smell like something was burning. She said, "Can you hear? Something is burning, something is burning, something is burning." And we all panicked. And it was really a strong smell. It's like wires were burning. I didn't know where it was coming from. I looked everywhere. I went downstairs again. There was nothing there. I went upstairs to the upper floor, and yet it was there. So first floor, upper floor, smelling, like burning, seriously. But downstairs, nothing of the sort. So she said to me, "Call 911, call 911, call 911. Now, my mind was to call 911, as she said. But when I got on the phone, guess what I did? I was dialing 919. I dialed 919, and I said to her, "Well, it's not going through." I kept dialing 919, and I said, "It's not going through." She said, "Okay, then try your cell phone." I dialed my cell phone 919 instead of 911. It wasn't getting through. And I said to her, "It wasn't getting through." She says, "Call 911, call 911. But I'll dial 919. So guess what? I was getting the information, but I wasn't processing the information correctly. And she saw what I was doing, and she fell out, started laughing. For a moment, we forgot about the smile. For a moment, we forgot about the smell. We were just laughing so hard. And she was teasing me. She says, "How ignorant can you be?" And I said, "My goodness, I thought I was dialing 911, but the actual fact was I was dialing 919, which is a prefix for my area code, which is my area code." So you see, many times we hearing or we are listening, or knowledge is coming to us, or information is coming to us, but we don't apply the information correctly. You have so much knowledge, but most of us don't apply the knowledge. Now, if you have a knowledge of who you are in Christ Jesus, then you would respond differently. If you have knowledge of who you are in Christ Jesus, then you ask God for His word so that you use His wisdom, then understanding, to be able to survive in the midst of the scare. You see, what I discovered was that I heard 919, but my mind did not register. I heard 911, but my mind did not register 911. My mind registered 919. But she kept repeating, "Dial 911." But my mind was processing the information as 919, just one number off. So imagine how much information you have, how much knowledge you have, but you always one sentence off. You are one statement off. You are one word off. And you throw everything out of order. For us to navigate and literally go through these crises and come out on top, we need all the knowledge we can get. Number two, we need all the wisdom we can get. And number three, we have to use all the understanding that we have. But if you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the understanding, how can you go to the best? If you and I can apply this thing, then life will be a little different. We'll be able to navigate our life through this pandemic. Let me just give you a point and three things that we can do so that we can go through this crisis without burying our head in the sun, but standing tall and overcoming. Number one, we have to be open-minded and ready to do things differently. To navigate our lives in the midst of this pandemic or this new normal, we have to be open-minded and ready to do things differently. You can't be doing things the way you used to do them. Be ready to do things differently. Be ready to do things differently. You see, we are struggling, and many people are struggling with the new normal, but it's here to stay. And should things even change, you have to be ahead of the game. You have to be able to understand that things will change, and it won't go back to what it used to be. Things will no longer be the same. Businesses that are closed, some of them will never come back. Things that we know today will change, and we have to make room for the new normal. And we have to be able to navigate. So all we have to do is first and foremost be open-minded and ready to do things differently. Number two, we have to learn to be creative and innovative. Do things differently by being creative and innovative. That's the second point. How do I navigate my life through this new normal? Be creative and innovative. And number three, an important point, learn to let go of the familiar and embrace the new normal. Again, learn to let go of the familiar and embrace the new normal. You know something? There's nothing new for God. There's nothing new for God, but yet God says, behold, Isaiah 43 verse 19, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. This is what God is saying. He says, you are not going to be kept out, or you're not going to be left out. You will not be without knowledge. He says, before this new thing takes place, I will make it known to you. And he says, I will make road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. What is happening here is different, but God says, don't worry. I'll use this present new thing to do something new in your life. You and I have to be open-minded, ready to do things differently. Number two, you and I have to be open to step into creativity and innovation. Three, you and I have to learn to let go of the familiar and embrace the new normal. Behold, I am doing a new thing. COVID-19 is new to you. It's new to me, but it's not new to God. What is, has been, and even what is to come has been. There's nothing new under the sun. God says, before these new things take place, I'll tell you. Philippians chapter 3, verse 13 is very important scripture. It says, brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, and what is it? Forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. If you and I will apply these scriptures to our lives, this is knowledge, and apply its wisdom and understand, we'll be able to go through this COVID-19 trusting God. It says this, let's forget about those things which are behind. How wonderful things were. Let's forget them. And let's press on. Let's press on. Let's reach forward for things that are ahead of us. COVID-19 should not keep us in the dark. COVID-19 should give us opportunity to create new lights. What is happening around us, in our churches, in our governments, in our families, in our schools, in our healthcare, in our finance, and all that is happening around us should not stop anything. Let's just be creative enough, innovative enough. Let go of the past, embrace the new, and step forward and do what you've not done before. Trust me, with God in your life, you will not fail. God not be in your life that you will struggle. And if you and I are going to navigate our life through this new normal, then let's take this principle seriously. Be open-minded and ready to do things that you've never done before. That's differently. Number two, be ready to step into your creativity and innovation. And number three, let go of the familiar, embrace the new. It's here. It's not going anywhere. But you have to go past it so that you could step into your greatest blessing. You can do it because the word says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Don't put your life on hold. Keep moving because you are going somewhere. I pray that the Lord will bless you. And I pray that this message will lift your spirit up. And it's my hope that you think differently and embark on your creativity and innovation. It is my prayer that you would say that it's bent, but it's not broken. I'm still alive, and God is on my side. Be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen. I want to take time to encourage you to listen to the previous messages. They will be a blessing to you, and share them with your friends. And you can visit us on our various platforms, both Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can watch our programs also in YouTube. Don't forget, everything that you need is in our Live International or Do Live TV archives. We love you. Stay blessed. And remember, you are a winner and not a loser. Thank you very much for watching. And on behalf of Life International, we wish you God's very best. It is our hope, our prayer, and desire to inspire you regularly and make sure that you succeed in every area of your life. We would like to give you an opportunity to contribute to Life International so that our broadcast can reach many more around the world. Continue watching, share us, and mention us to all of your friends. Thank you so much, and God bless you.